What's up, everyone? Eric here, Classic Wax Sports Cards. Today we have a box of 1981 Donruss that we're going to open up. Pretty cool first year of Donruss. I've opened up a box of these in the past, and it was a complete disaster. I didn't video it, but a couple years ago I opened a box. I think I've opened two boxes, and the last box that I opened was just nothing but duplicates. It was a really weird box to say the least. So I'm hoping that this box is a little bit better and more normal. Before we get started, I wanted to just touch on the 1981 season. Take a look at those wrappers, are pretty cool. The 1981 MLB season, it was the year of the players' strike. The season was shortened by over 50 games. And it was a split season. It was the first time they had done that since the late 1800s, where they took the division champs of the split seasons. The Dodgers ended up winning the World Series that year over the Yankees, and the All-Star game was delayed almost a month. They played it on August 9th. Your MVPs of the season that year were Mike Schmidt in the National League, Raleigh Fingers in the American League. Cy Young winners were Fernando Valenzuela and Raleigh Fingers, and the Rookie of the Year was also Fernando Valenzuela, and in the American League was Dave Righetti. Some of your statistical leaders from 1981. The American League batting champ was Carney Lansford. He had a 336 average. National League Bill Madlock, 341 average. The home run leaders and the RBI leaders, lower totals than normal. Mike Schmidt led the National League in home runs with 31. That's actually quite a bit considering they missed over 50 games. And American League, there was four that ended up with 22, including Dwight Evans and Eddie Murray. Eddie Murray was your American League RBI leader, and Mike Schmidt was your National League RBI leader. Tom Seaver led the National League in wins with 14. And in the American League, there was four pitchers tied with 14 wins, including Dennis Martinez and Jack Morris. And your ERA leaders, American League, Dave Righetti, 2.05. Nolan Ryan in the National League, 1.69. And your strikeout leaders, Len Barker, 127 in the American League. Valenzuela, 180 in the National League. Save leaders were Raleigh Fingers and Bruce Sutter. And your stolen base leaders were Ricky Henderson with 56 in the American League and Tim Raines with 71 in the National League. And coincidentally enough, those are the two biggest cards in this set. You're looking for Tim Raines' rookie card. It's really the best rookie card in this set. And you're looking for a second-year Ricky Henderson card. So with no further ado, I'm going to just set this over to the side. One more thing, Rube Foster, Bob Gibson, and Johnny Mize were inducted into the Hall of Fame that year. So these are all different colors, these wrappers in here. Some are red, some are blue, some are like a goldish color, orange. That's sort of how the packs went back then. I don't think they were... the other box I had was similar in that it, same kind of thing. It had a bunch of just mix-matched packs, I believe, from what I can remember. Although it's been a couple years. So we're going to get ripping into this. Let's see what we got. Now, first year of Donruss, there is tons of errors in this. There's tons of... they didn't do gum, but they did a puzzle piece. Actually, I thought they did do gum. Huh. I know it was gum on some of the other ones. That's weird. Hopefully this isn't a repack. Or that'd be really disappointing. I thought we had a Tim Raines there. Bob Pate. Dave Bristol. Jack Clark. These are terribly miscut. Gary Allenson. There's a Tony Perez, we'll put him aside. Hall of Fame stack. Ken Oberfell, Sammy Stewart, Jim Palmer. All right, so at least we got a Hall of Famer and Jim Palmer out of that. So hopefully this is not some sort of resealed box. I thought for sure there was gum in these, but you know what? Like I said, this came from somebody that I do not know. I usually, all my wax that I buy or that I own, I've bought it over the years or accumulated it from people I know. This came from someone that I'm not really, that I don't know. I saw it laying on a table at a card show years ago, and I ended up buying it. So once again, we've got a puzzle piece, no gum. I thought they did gum in this first year. I was almost certain they did. So I don't know what the deal is with that. Could be that, you know, these came out of those fun packs as well. There's a Gary Carter. At least we're getting a few hits here. These came out of they had these fun packs, these Donruss fun packs, and what I'm starting to think is maybe the gum wasn't in those fun packs. I don't really know. And maybe these came from the fun packs and somebody just stuck it in a box. This is why sealed wax from the past is such a fickle thing. There's a Steve Carlton, Dan Meyer, Doug Barr, Ed Whitson, Sid Monge, Gullickson, Dave Chalk. It's such a crapshoot when you buy old wax like this, because unless you know the person it's coming from, and even then, did they own the box since the time it was, you know, from the origin of it? So it's just, there's so many factors, and it's, you know, I've seen so many things on YouTube over the years. So there's a good card. Joe Charbonneau rookie card. That's his rookie card. He's coming off his huge year in 80. Look at those stats he put up in 1980. In 453 games, he had 23 home runs, batted .289. He was your AL Rookie of the Year that year. Not Ricky Henderson. It was Joe Charbonneau. We'll put that aside. Andre Dawson. All right, so at least we're getting some stars here. There's some hope. Raleigh Fingers, here's your MVP. Manny Trio, Julio Cruz, Ed Halicki, Mike Lacoste, Joe Strain, Paul Molitor. Not too bad. Centered all right. Some of these are centered really bad, but otherwise they're pretty sharp. Willie Wilson, Rick Dempsey, Rasmussen. Now, that is not good right there. That is a bad corner. That thing is chewed up. Holy moly. Look at that guy. Look at his stash. Early 80s. Alright, so like I was saying, these boxes from this era, really anything pre-junk wax era, always kind of a crapshoot what the box is going to end up looking like. I mean, they did reseal stuff in the 80s, I'm pretty sure, so you never know what kind of box you're going to run across when you buy it. And even if it's been wrapped by the baseball card exchange or whomever, that's no guarantee. They don't open these packs up. They don't know what's going to be in there. And they mix match stuff. They open boxes and put, you know, if a pack looks bad, they'll replace it. That's kind of off to me. I don't really, you know, let me know what you think in the comments. When I found out that they do that, I was a little taken aback, to be honest with you. I was not under the impression that that's how it went, but apparently when they authenticate wax boxes and wrap them, you know, they're known to, I think they even have it written on their website that they you know, will you know, it's all depends, but sometimes they actually take packs that are like damaged out of the box and replace it from what I've believe. Oh, there we go. There we go. That's the card we were looking for, and let's see. No, a little bit of snow there on the front, I guess. No, that was like wax, actually. That's a pretty clean looking It's not bad. Not bad at all. I mean, for this set and how bad these are notoriously, it's got, like, as you can see up here, it's got, I think that might just be residue, though, that I could, if I get like a little microfiber, it'll come right off. We'll have to see. But I'm going to put that on display right there. We got a Dom Baylor. There's Hall of Famer Ted Simmons. This card always cracks me up with that mustache. Now these are all upside down. This is like, but see, this is what you get with 81 Donruss. This box already is like 10 times better than the other box that I opened. Jim Rice. I mean, that box, they were all over the place. A couple of the packs, the entire pack was like the same team. They would be like all Mariners or all Cubs or whatever. Dave Winfield. That's a cool pose there. I like that picture of him in the Padres. I think this is his last year in a Padres uniform. I think by 82 he was on the Yankees. Here's a Carlton Cy Young. Yeah, so basically the quality control back then was so bad. Mike Davis, Dennis Martinez, Sutcliffe, Householder, Dave Ford. The quality control is so poor, you never know what you're going to get. I mean, it could be, you know, these collations are all screwy. You just never know what you're going to get, especially with these, the first year of Donruss and Fleer. I've opened both boxes. I've found that the Donruss is actually a little bit worse than the Fleer, but I've also seen some Fleer boxes that are pretty darn bad. Mark Fidrick, Joe Morgan, Hall of Famer, Richie Zisk, Lamar Johnson, Leon Roberts, Don Sutton, Hall of Famer, Tommy Herr, Luis Gomez, Lou Piniella, Rafael Landestoy, John Mayberry, Kevin Bell. At least we're getting some stars here, and this seems to be an untampered box. Rod Carew, Reggie Smith, Bob Forsch. Boy, I'll have to look into it after this video, but I could have swore the other box that I opened of 81 Donruss had gum in the packs. Yeah, it says it right on the box. It says bubble gum and cards right here. So I wasn't dreaming that. My guess is this has been, because you see all these different colors, somebody just took a bunch of the 81 Donruss that were in those fun packs and they put it in a box. That's probably what happened. But we're still getting hits. We're still getting Tim Raines cards. And there's no gum, which is like, it's actually even better. I'm totally fine with it. As long as they haven't been tampered with and the good cards have been pulled. So I don't even know. Is this Lou Gehrig? I have to look it up. I don't even know if there was a puzzle piece that year. This might be from the 82. It might. Well, that wouldn't make any sense because then, no, it's got to be 81. So it must be that the fun packs didn't have gum, perhaps. Gene Richard, Bump Wills. This guy's always got some sort of error on his card. Rick Honeycutt, Gene Garber, Win Remmerswall. What a name. Ah, there we go. There we go. And that card, look at how bad this card is cut. Oh my goodness. Holy miscut. That is bad. It's so bad, the other player is starting to be on the bottom here. Good Lord of mercy. I mean, how do you... Somebody, I mean, people were just in a rush. They had no idea what they were doing back then. Donruss was... I mean, you would have thought they would. It's Panini. I mean, I think at that time it was... They had been in the card game before this. I don't know. That's a Ricky, but that's a pretty bad... I mean, that's just so poorly centered. And you know what? Or it's actually centered right. It's just miscut top to bottom. But The centering on it left to right's not bad. And there's no snow. It's a pretty clean card otherwise. I'm not going to put that up there on display just because it's so... Actually, you know what? We will, just for giggles, since we may not get another one. And people can stare at that terribly miscut card. Grant Jackson, Roy Jackson, Bill Russell, Luis Gomez, Lou Piniella again. There we go. Alan Trammell and John Ellis. That's a third year or is that right? Third year, fourth year Alan Trammell, something like that. His rookie card's 78. Him and Sweet Lou. Yeah, that's a Gehrig puzzle piece. Interesting. Joe Lefevre, Tony La Russa. You know what? Tony La Russa goes in the star. When I'm ripping, he goes in the star pile. Ted Simmons, another terribly miscut. Look at that. All wonky. Larry Cox, Mike Prawley, John Milner, Jerry White, Bruce Sutter. Here's one that's... The other box I had, there was all these Cubs players. Like half the box was like Cubs. And I must have got like 15 Bruce Sutters. And I don't think any were that bad. That is just ridiculous. How could they do it that bad? Talk about failure. Don Baylor, Steve Yeager, Mike Jorgensen, Fred Stanley, Jim Norris, Del Alston, Roger Erickson. Now, so what's that card get? If you were to send that in to PSA or to any grading company, pretty clean. I mean, it's packed fresh. It's just insanely miscut. Does that get like a decent grade and just a qualifier, like a miscut or something? I mean, how many points do you get knocked off for having the other guy's card on your card? Just amazing. The crazy thing is, they still haven't really figured out centering. There's still centering issues on cards. 40 years later. Glenn Adams, Dave Haverlow, Paul Householder, Rich Dotson, Mickey Rivers. Oh, there's a Petey. That's a weird looking. Look at that thing. I don't know if you can see that, but that's got all kinds of snow all over it. All that's not residue either. That's like, actually the card almost feels like rough. Well, buyers beware if you buy a box of this 81 Donruss. This is, I've now opened, I believe, 3 of these. This is the third one. And none of them, I mean, the quality control on every one. There's a Phil Necro that's got the same deal. It's just like really badly. Look at all that stuff. Look at on his hat, all those it's like white. It looks like literally like snow. Rick Sutcliffe, Damaso Garcia. All right, we're gonna keep moving this along. Hopefully, we get a Ricky Henderson that's better than that one we have right there to replace. Ah, there's a Tom Seaver. Actually, that one's got some stuff, but it's more like residue. Again, miscut like crazy. Rodney Craig, Jim Slayton. These things are all over the place. Cesar Cedeno. Oh, there's a Pete Rose. See, you could tell. I mean, there's enough stars in here that this is not like, these aren't resealed. That's for sure. But I mean, they're just all... I mean, that Tim Raines is actually pretty darn good. It's centered nice. So that makes me think there's no way this was ever resealed. There's your batting champ from 81, Carney Lansford. Let's see what he did in the years prior. Let's see what we got here. In 80, he hit 261, so he had kind of his breakout. Was a good hitter, man. Charlie Leibrandt, Vida Blue. Do we put Vida Blue in that stack? Sure, he was a star. Youngblood. There's Evans. He was a star too. Matlock doesn't quite make the cut, even though he was your batting champ from that year as well. All right. Moving right along. Man, I love not having the gum in here. The puzzle pieces are so much better. Dave Russello, Bob Horner, Mike Heath. Oh, that one's stuck there. Dave Razima, Bob Davis, Ed Farmer, Bert Campaneris, Rick Monday, John Fulgham, Ron Hassey. Oh, there's a Gary Carter for you. Pretty badly miscut Gary Carter. But so are half the cards in here. Mickey Klutz, Bruce Bochy, coming back this year to manage with the Texas Rangers. They signed Jacob deGrom. I think they're looking at a few other guys. They might still sign a guy or two. Bobby Cox. There's a card stuck there to it. Bobby Cox. Gary Matthews. Jerry Martin. Tom Houseman. Larry Sorensen. Randy Leach. John Milner. His name speaks for itself. Bombo Rivera. Mark Belanger. Steve Kemp. Sadek. Dick Williams. Bill Sample. And Bo Diaz. Man, these all have that like heavy snow. All right, let's pull some more out of here. Let's go for some of these gold packs, and looks like there's some more red here. All right. Residue, man. These old packs are... You never know what you're going to get. That's part of the fun of these things, is just you never have any idea what you're going to get. And if you go into it expecting, that's why spending so much money on all this vintage wax is really it's dicey. Rance Mulliniks, Falcone, Jorgensen. Now, this 81 Donruss set, there's a Tom Seaver card with that. It's got a little bit of residue, but not too bad. Harry Spillman, Dave Kingman, Buck Martinez, Robin Yount, Bobby Clark, Hal McRae, Splittorff, Steve Stone, Cy Young. That guy had a monster year in '80. Pat Underwood. 81 Donruss, the only big rookie is Tim Raines. And they missed out on... Fleer and Topps have Kirk Gibson, Fernando Valenzuela, and who's the third one I'm forgetting? Well, there's Danny Ainge in this one. Harold Baines. Harold Baines, Kirk Gibson, and Valenzuela are the three rookies that this Donruss set really missed out on. And it kind of is a shame, because those are three nice rookie cards. Now, they're both in Topps and Fleer. However, Tim Raines is not in the Fleer set. So Fleer missed out on Tim Raines, but Topps got all of them. But the solo cards don't come out until the Tim Raines and Valenzuela, as you know, are on the multiplayer rookie cards that year. Harold Baines has his own rookie card, but it'd be nice to have a Valenzuela card from this set. I think Fernando Valenzuela is pretty underrated in the hobby. He was one of the best pitchers of the whole 1980s. He is an icon, from that period of time. I mean, he was huge. Fernando Mania, and that was 1981. They made it to the World Series that year. They won the World Series. So I mean, he had an epic rookie year. And you don't hear too many people that, go nuts for him. But when I have set up at card shows here locally, here in Southern California, he's huge. I mean, there's still people that will come up and ask me, "Do you have any Fernando Valenzuela?" I'm a collector of his. It's all I collect. So he's definitely a person people still collect. I think that's a Mike Scott rookie card, but I'm not sure. Jeff Reardon has a rookie card in this set. Oh, here we go. We got a Ricky. Nice. At least this one's badly centered, but top to bottom it's fine. It's just left to right. It's ridiculous. All right, so that'll go right there, right above the other one. That's terribly off-centered. That's what you get with 81 Donruss. So I'm surprised that these cards don't sell for more money, to be honest with you, like the PSA 10s and stuff, because I can't imagine pulling a 10 out of this at all, ever. That Tim Raines right there is probably the closest thing to like a 9 or anything you're going to see. I doubt that would get a 10. It looks like it's a little, just from my eye, like left to right. It's got a little bit of that snow even, maybe. I don't see that getting a 10. Like a 9 or an 8 maybe. But here's a Steve Carlton. Joe Rudy, Doug Blair, Bob Nepper, Sal Bando. Ah, there's a Yastrzemski, and that's actually decently... No, that's a decent card. Sotis, Mike Flanagan. Here's a big time. Look at that. Terry Poole, Ron Reed, Dave Collins, Tom Griffin. Haven't gotten a Johnny Bench yet. I think Johnny Bench is in this set. Actually, I know he is. Who else haven't we got? Dale Murphy. I think he's one of the more valuable cards from the set. Ozzie Smith, the Wizard. It's his third-year card. So hopefully we'll pull those soon. Bob Rogers, Ron LaFleur, I should say. Don Robinson, Rick Cerrone, Dave Edwards, Ronnie Jackson. There's a checklist. Okay, there's another one of those Pete Roses. I believe Pete Rose and Mike Schmidt, they have like multiple cards in this set. There's quite a few players of the star players that have multiple cards. I know that's one thing. So, Bobby Grich. Here's a blue pack. Let's try one of these. See what's in this. Oh, there we go. Gary Carter on top. Horribly miscut. It's actually a pretty nice looking action shot of Gary Carter. Ed Farmer. John Grubb. Oh, God. Look at that. Alan Trammell just butchered. Followed by a Joe Morgan that's actually decent. Rennie Martin, Bill Lee, Dave Rossello, Gene Garber, Dave Collins. I have just seen everything now with this Donruss set. I don't have like I said, I didn't take a video of the last time I ripped one of these, and I should have. The box was just, it was unbelievable. The collations were crazy. There was gum in that box, and they were really stuck. They were like leached onto the card. The cards that had the gum on it, you couldn't even salvage the cards. They were all ruined. There's a card behind that. Okay, Jerry White. There's a Dave Stieb. That's his second year. Put that in the star pile since we're not getting tons. A lot of commons in this set. I mean, definitely stars, but also tons of commons. Joe Torre. I guess Joe Torre goes in the pile of of stars: Jerry Augustine, Neil Allen, Broderick Perkins. All right. Open some of these red ones. I don't think these are resealed because I see the folds here and stuff, and I mean I seal my own packs with classic wax sports cards, as you can see right here, and you know we have the same type of fold that they have, and as you can see, I mean there's they have like you can tell when you've put your hands on enough wax as I have. Wrappers like this, you can pretty much tell right away if something's fishy's going on, and I don't suspect that here. There's enough stars in this box, even though the majority of them are miscut as heck. Don Baylor. I just think personally, I think Donruss and Fleer back in the early '80s was just their quality control was just so bad that this is what you get. This is par for the course when you're opening one of these old boxes of this stuff. Tops wasn't that bad by then. Gosh, these are all stuck together. There's a Dave Winfield. Same deal, miscut pretty badly. God, it's like the top left corner here is just holy mackerel. Look at that. It's so miscut. Like it's cut on an angle. Lee Lacy, Jim Norris, Del Austin, Roger Erickson. The other thing is they're crispy and they have all this like residue on them. So that comes from being in these packs forever. Now I guess like I said, I don't suspect that this is a reseal here at all. I just think this is what you get when you open 1981 Donruss. Tom Griffin. There's a Dennis Eckersley. I think that's the first one of those we've pulled. Dave Revering, Ed Ott, Ron Reed, George Foster, Mike Caldwell, Tommy John, the man, the myth, the legend, Rick Wise, Denny Walling, Gary Maddox, Bill North, Bergmeyer, Mike Norris, and Manny Sanguian. A lot of good player, very good players in there, not Hall of Fame. Tommy John, even somebody like Manny Sanguia, he was really good. John Castino, Luis Pols, Art Howe, Terry Crawley. Man, these are just stuck. Mike Squires, Joel Youngblood, Mickey Hatcher, Jerry Rouse, Ron Say, Figueroa, Slayton. Oh, there we go. There's a Mookie Wilson rookie card. Followed up by Dennis Worth. But that is a good, pretty nicely centered. Not terrible. I mean, for this, it's like, that's as good as you're going to get. Print error down here. I mean, that's the best you can hope for, just about, when you pull something from this set. It's just, everything is just so poorly controlled. All right. The Count, John Montefusco. Brian McLaughlin. There's a recent Hall of Fame inductee. Jim Cott. Now, if you were wondering, these cards will go into Classic Wax Sports Cards. That Tim Raines rookie card right there is definitely going to go into a box. It's a nice card to get. And if any of the Ricky Hendersons are decent enough, acceptable enough. I'd say that one right there. It's pretty badly centered, but I think somebody would still like to get that. It's a pack fresh card, and like I said, you're just not going to get cards from this year that are just all dead centered, not even close, honestly. Oh, there's a Nolan Ryan. And that's not a terrible Nolan Ryan. It's got a little bit of that snow on it, but centered decent. Yeah, it's got a decent amount of that snow. But what are you going to do? Luckily, I didn't pay that much for this box. I know better. Look, there's a ding right on the edge there. Gene Richards. Manny Sanguillen. Terry Poole, who was a really underrated hitter. Luis Haas. Fred Norman. Dennis Leonard. Oh, there we go. Eddie Murray. Followed by Alan Trammell, super miscut Alan Trammell, Grant Jackson, Bump Wills, John Stearns, Gary Maddox. All right, we're about halfway done the box. Get some of these packs out here. That's what's left. Now, I'm going to try to hurry this up and blast through these last handful of packs. Quite a few here. Less talking, more ripping. Doesn't help that these things are all back and forth and not the same way. Rick Honeycutt, Jeff Burroughs, Bill North, Mike Caldwell. There's an Eckersley. Dave Revering. Oh, something stuck there. Eddie Solomon, Mike Scott, rookie card, I believe. Glenn Abbott, Bill Russell, Gene Garber, Larry Hissel, Tom Bergmeyer, Tommy John, Tom Brookins, Jimmy Kern. This guy, if you're interested, he has a book that he's written. He'll also sign autographs through the mail. He has a website and stuff. It's pretty cool. Check him out, Jim Kern. He was a good pitcher. He was better than just an average pitcher. He was really good. Threw really hard. Was on a staff with some pretty good players like Gaylord Perry with the Rangers, Fergie Jenkins, I believe. He pitched with those guys back in the late 70s, and then I think he was eventually on the Cleveland Indians, perhaps, but he has an interesting story and career. Jim Morrison, John Ellis, Mike Heath, Reggie Cleveland, Ed Whitson. There we go. There's a Johnny Bench, and it's ridiculously miscut. My lord. Kevin Bell, Danny Darwin. Look at that one. Look at that Danny Darwin. Grant Jackson. The checklist's even miscut. Holy cow, look at this whole entire pack. Lou Piniella. Look at this. Moffitt. Oh my gosh, they're all on the Mario Soto, Frank Tanana, Richie Zisk. I mean, phew. So, if anybody was thinking about buying a box of 81 Donruss, I would not spend a lot of money, and I would be prepared for this to happen to you as well. Because I'm 0 for 3 on these boxes being legit, good. There's a J.R. Richard, really off-centered. Mark Fidrick, Ken Singleton, Willie Wilson, Ron Hassey, Mike Phillips, the Bull Greg Lazinski, Dan Meyer, Robbins, Ayala. I don't know, man. Maybe this is resealed, and it was resealed like in 1981 or 82. I have no idea, but I don't think so because they're so crispy and like stuck together. I just think, like I said, it's bad quality control from the factory. They had no clue. It was the first print run, probably, or one of the first print runs. At least we got a nice Tim Raines right in the beginning. That really at least makes up for something. I heard this guy went on to a career as a hairstylist. Paul Mitchell. Just kidding, obviously. Not sure if anybody even got that joke. All right. Wayne Garland. Chet Lemon in those wacky Chicago White Sox uniforms that were like shorts. Man, these are just all over the place. Bucky Dent, Mike Easler, DeJesus. Here's a Pat Underwood with just a butchered corner. Jim Palmer, miscut. Moreland. Royster. I mean, these are just, gee, good lord. They're all just so badly miscut. But hey, this is why we're doing this, because it's a nice little education lesson as well for people that are into wax. I'm ripping these. I have so much unopened wax. It's what I've been collecting for years, and some of the stuff that I am not more attached to, I'm going to be ripping on this channel. And it's fun. You can look at stuff from, I mean, this is a box that's now 41 years old, and it costs a little bit of money on, I don't know what one of these costs right now, but they're not dirt cheap. But it's probably about as cheap as you can get for a box from like the early 80s. I don't think these 81 Donruss sell for that much compared to some of the other years, like 84 and stuff like that. But by then, they had much better quality control. By 84, Len Sakata, Sammy Stewart, John Castino. There's a Yogi Berra. I forgot that card was in here. As a coach, just terribly miscentered, miscut, and screwed up there in the left corner. Frank White, Doug Deschenz. Yeah, these are pretty bad with the centering issues here. If anybody collects the wrappers, you can email me at classicwaxsportscards.com, eric@classicwaxsportscards.com, and I will gladly sell you for very, very cheap these wrappers. I know some people collect them, or if you just want one or two, I could, I would just mail them to you for the cost of shipping. Jim Tracy, Dick Williams, Morales. Come on, we gotta get. We've had some duds here. These red ones were really bad. Tippy Martinez, Splittorf, Barry Foote, Dallas Green, Jerry Royce. I mean, nothing. These red ones were brutal. They really were. But at least we've gotten two Ricky Hendersons. We got a Tim Raines. Those were really what we were shooting for. We got a nice Mookie Wilson rookie card that wasn't too bad. And we've gotten a handful of other stars. But just overall, the centering is just so bad. So this is an error. This Bobby Bonds card, I think, is an error card. Let's see if this is the error. Nope, this is the correct one. This is the corrected one. So this is not from the first print run. Home runs 326. That's correct. On the other one, it says like 900 and something. Put him over there. Honeycutt, Ron Reed, Al Woods, Bruce Bochy, Fidrick, Rennie Stinnett, Strain, Ray Knight, Rick Monday, and Leon Roberts. Good Lord. Those red packs just did us no favors. Alright, a few of these orangish gold looking packs and then a couple blue ones and we're done. Bergmeyer, Grant Jackson, Roy Jackson, Jim Beatty, Burroughs. Remember? Does anybody remember his son that just destroyed the Little League World Series one year? Jeff Burroughs. Tom Underwood, Richie Hebner, John Ellis, Glenn Abbott. Oh, there's another one stuck there. Ferguson, Gene Garber, Freddie Lynn. Oh, there we go. There's a Ricky. There's a Ricky. Off-centered again. I mean, insane. So we got 3 Rickies. They're all off-centered. Oh, there he is, the Cobra. Looking pretty, I don't know. He was a great player. Mike Scott. We'll put them over there. This is not... It's not the worst box and it's not the best because, like I said, it could have been worse. I've opened an 81 Donruss that was a complete and utter disaster. Everything was just totally a mess. There's Dennis Eckersley, but he's got edge, screwed up edge. Craig Nettles, Revering. Man, these are all Fidrich. Okay, there we go. There's a Joe Morgan. Kevin Bell. Rod Carew, off-centered. Reggie Smith. Bob Forsch. Ron Hassey. Miscut, top to bottom, Gary Carter. Tommy John. Gary Renicky. Dave Rizema. And John Mayberry. All right. Joe Strain, Ray Knight. Oh, look at that. Good Lord of mercy. Look at that. How could they even do that? Mike Scott, Bump Wills, Tom Foley, Hassey, Herr. Oh, there's a Johnny Bench. That's a different Johnny Bench, too. That's like I was saying earlier, that's actually not a terrible card. Finally, one it's got a little, what's that, little, like, print mark. It's not centered terrible. I mean, that for this year, that's like a nice, it's about as nice as they get. Campaneris, Mark Johnson, John Ellis, Manny Sankian, and up there he is, Raleigh Fingers. Your MVP, I believe. Your, yeah, I think he was the National League MVP. That was Mike Schmidt. He was the American League MVP. Did I read that right? Yeah, I think that's what I said in the beginning of the video. He had a great year. Probably got traded mid-season. I think that's what happened. Ed Halicki, Rich Wortham, John Mayberry, Bill Robinson, John Lowenstein, Fred Norman. Let's get another Tim Raines. Or I'd like to get a Dale Murphy. Haven't got one of his yet. Joe Rudy, Sutherland, Garvin, Joe Morgan again, tons of Joe Morgans. Not that anything wrong with Joe Morgan. I just like to get a little variety here. Seems like we're getting a lot of the same players, but that was what the last box of this was too. There was just so many of the same guys over and over again. Some of the boxes were a disaster. Or some of the packs were just, the whole pack was like, there was like 3 of the same guy in each pack. It was crazy. Butch Hobson, Red Schoendeist, Don Money, Gary Allenson, Ricky Romo, Deschennes, Sticky Knowles, Hoskin Powell, Dressler, Spillman, Kuzman. Oh, there's a Lou Whitaker coming up. Sweet Lou. Put him in the star pile. All right, 4 packs to go. And we're going to try to fly through these. It's a long video for a product that probably doesn't deserve it. This 81 Donruss is just not the best product out there, I can tell you that. But what we can salvage from here, like that card right there. It's a nice looking pack fresh Jim Palmer. That's going to go right into one of our packs. And anybody that's ever bought from us or read our reviews online or watched the YouTube videos of other people opening classic wax sports cards, you'll know that it's not just some average repack job. We put really good stuff, really thoughtful with what we put in there. We try to put tons of variety. You're going to get cards from the 50s, 60s, 70s, all the way up till today. Rookie cards, we don't hold back. I mean, we've got all kinds of stuff, all brand, all the major companies, off-brand stuff. It's really a very unique product, and we're pretty proud of that. So we're going to be bringing some new things here in the new year, where we're going to be working on some special releases where we do like limited batches where we chase certain cards. That's going to kind of be our next thing that we introduce here very shortly. So if you're into ripping vintage cards and like variety, it's probably a product that you want to check out. The condition, we're always getting compliments of the condition of our cards. We put, like I wouldn't put something like that. I mean, obviously, even though it's a pack fresh card, nobody wants that miscut. I mean, there's somebody out there that wants it. It's like a guy that collects all miscut stuff, but that's about it. Otherwise, we make sure that all the cards we put in there are in the best of condition. Even the vintage stuff, we try our hardest to put stuff that's crease free and as crispy as it, almost like it just got pulled out of a wax pack from that year. All right, 2 packs to go. Hoping for a Tim Raines. Not expecting much. Jeff Burroughs, let's talk into existence. Larry Hissel, Tom Underwood, Jerry Murphy. Gosh, there's just so many dud packs where you get absolutely nothing. Garber, Remmerswall. Oh, here's another Ricky Henderson. So we're just getting tons of Ricky Hendersons, and they're all miscut left to right. More space on the right than the left on every one. But that one's in nice, otherwise that one's in good shape. And I would probably put that in a pack because this is a card that is really tough to find in good condition. Burt Blyleven. I think that's the first Blyleven we got, maybe second. Pinella, and finally a decent little bottom wear, little edge wear there, but at least that one's not terribly miscut. All right, last pack. We just got a Ricky Henderson. Let's see if we can get a Tim Raines in this final pack. Would be a beautiful thing. That would really make the day. Make up for this rip if we got another nice Tim Raines. Rick Monday, John Urea, Ron Hassey, Tamargo, Mickey Klutz, Ricky Peters. Oh, there's a Yaz. Off, miscut top to bottom, but nonetheless, it's a Yaz. Scott McGregor, Duffy Dyer, Richie Zisk, Lamar Johnson, Leon Roberts. We got a Don Sutton. Bob Forsch and Dave Rossello. All right, so quick recap. This is our pile of stars and Hall of Famers. It's not terrible. I mean, there's your Mookie Wilson rookie card. I think we got a Nolan Ryan there, a bunch of Gary Carters, Steve Carlton, Winfield. I think we got everybody except for Ozzie Smith and Dave Winfield were the big ones we were missing. Here is the best card we got, which is actually a nice looking Tim Raines rookie card. And then the other ones are these stack of Rickies that, gosh, they're just all poorly cut. This one is a joke. That will not go into a classic wax pack. I'll probably sell that for $1 in the dollar bin at a next card show I do. Well, that's all for today. Check us out on classicwaxsportscards.com, Instagram and Facebook. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and stay tuned for much more content. Have a great day.